So I heard laughter that wasn't Laura.
So,
Okay, it's back. We have
yay!
ShyRedFox
Okay,
back. Okay.
awesome.
Yay! All right. I'm gonna stop touching things. There's no more touching. For the rest of the stream, I will
Oh,
sit across the room from my machine. I will wave to gesture what I want. All right. Oh my gosh, two people at the same time. That is completely out of control. All
oh,
right. Well,
sorry
we
guys.
wanted a
Thank
third
you.
person, so when poor Sable gets here, it's going to get even more exciting. So let me
Oh, we
make
will have it down by the time stable. We are just a test.
yeah,
So,
that's it. Yes, we are just we are the pre-show. We're the garage band that needs to like warm up the crowd. So, all right. Thank you guys for coming in. We are going to talk about World Anvil for real now, and I know that there is a
yay!
large blank space on the screen where we are going to be doing some screen sharing, and I'm not doing anything. Like right now, you just get some small faces while we talk and a big blank screen, and that's it. Like we'll be back later. So, all right. Um, and so, uh, why are we here? Let's talk a little bit about World Anvil and what we wanted to do. And first of all, I just wanted to say, Amy pointed out, Shy Red Fox pointed out to me that today is a palindrome. So, yay! Welcome to our fantastic palindrome day. Um, and then let's talk just a smidge about World Anvil because I had never even heard of World Anvil until a few months ago because I think I'd seen the name, but there's no yeah you couldn't have asked me like what it was, um, and so I stumbled upon it just in time for World Ember, which is the world building challenge. Found out that Shy Red Fox, who I knew through Twitch, is like really knowledgeable and like kind of a guru, and I'm like, oh hey, can I steal your brain? And so that's why we're here tonight. So I guess can I ask you to do like a super brief summary of World Anvil for those people who are not familiar with it, as I was not some months ago?
Okay. Well, um, as best I can tell you, because I'm not the creator of World Anvil, I love using it. It's a world building platform for anybody, for authors, role players, GMs, game designers, etc. So, like as an author, you could build a world wiki, or you could release secrets to your readers, or just so many different things. And so it's just an incredible platform. I've been using it for over 1.5 years, a little bit over that. My World Anvil half-year anniversary was Christmas Day, so um, it's as much a hobby for me as it is a tool because I love tinkering with it. It's like a tinkerer's dream.
And
Um,
that's the best kind of tool that you can just have fun experimenting with, and yeah.
I absolutely love it. Really quick background. It's a very small company. It's Demetrius Havlidis and Janet Forbes. They are the two main people who started it. They do pretty much everything for it. They have some wonderful volunteers, a few developers, contest managers, social media platform people called enchanters, and they've developed an incredible supportive community on Discord, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and all of it. So it's not just the world building platform software. There's like the whole community behind it, and that's a big part of what I love about it.
And that's
So
something that I was like surprised to discover. I came into it, I was like, oh, there's a website. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like this passionate community around this website that I had no
oh yeah.
idea about. And I think probably passionate community is the best way to explain that. Hey, Sable's in. I'm gonna see if I can get
Hello.
Hey
I'm gonna
Sable.
see if I can get
Hi.
everybody on the screen at the same time. Okay. Oh, that is not
Cool.
me. Nobody wants me. Hold on a second. Give me a
Oh, we
moment.
want you.
Nobody wants my Zoom avatar. Let me see if I can make this happen. Um,
You might end up with your Zoom avatar and Shy and me, and who knows?
well, it's like I am uh, so sorry about the chaos. Oh, hey, look, I've got the two of you in, and then I'm gonna squeeze this up here, and we're
Oh, I
gonna
see.
drift our chat over here so
I see
people
the
can see
top of Sable's head.
questions.
I see her.
Yeah, she's
There we
real.
go. Hello.
All right.
I've got the chat over here, so if I, looking over here, that's what I'm doing is looking at the chat.
Oh, and Danny says we can
Awesome.
actually hear everybody. I'm so happy about that. Okay, thank you so much for confirming that because I was just gonna like start panicking quietly. Okay, you know what? I think everything's on the screen. We're good, and I'm not touching, not touching anything. No touching. Okay. All right. Um, hey, can I ask you two to introduce yourselves since we're just free forming the start of this here completely. ShyRedFox has been telling us just a smidge about her experience with World Anvil. And so, Sable, would you mind giving us just a brief introduction to yourself and what you do with World Anvil?
Okay, sure. Well, my name's Diane Morrison, and I'm known in the community as SableAradia, and especially the World Anvil community. And basically, I'm using it for my primary writer platform at the moment. I have two series that I write in, and I've created a world for each of them. And I've incorporated that with my Patreon. My patrons get access to fiction that is published on World Anvil's manuscripts format, which it's kind of like the beta reader version, right? It will end up being a physical book when it's done, but they get to see it before anybody else does, and I serialize chapters weekly.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
So that's actually a pretty cool application there because like people are getting the sneak preview, but then they're still getting the whole book. So that's not your release platform. That's your teaser platform. That's very
exactly.
cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Um, so let me just preface this with as I warned these poor people who agreed to come on and tonight. Like I don't. I know just enough now about World Anvil to be dangerous and to make myself sound either slightly clever or really dumb by the way I phrase my questions. So thanks, Red Fox, for throwing that in the chat so people can see where we are and maybe want to follow along. So one of the things I want to mention is World Anvil has many, many tiers of pay tiers and pro tiers, but the free tier is really quite featured. Is that the right way to say that? Like there's a ton you can do without ever having to upgrade. So if you would like to jump in and kind of follow along with us, feel free. It's not going to cost you anything, and you can actually get a lot of mileage without having to upgrade. So, bye,
If you
James.
check
Thanks for
out,
stopping by. So I'm
oh,
sorry.
good
What was?
night, James. Sorry, I was going to say if people want to know some of what they can do with the free account, right now, Davina Androwin, that's her, I'll put that in the chat. She is doing an entire series on what you can do with a free account,
Oh,
right?
nice.
And then she's going to work on what you can do from the journeyman and so on up, right through the
Okay.
different levels so you can check it out. So I'll
Excellent,
put her link in
excellent.
the
Yeah,
chat.
and if you throw it in the chat, and then everything that's going, all the links that are going in the chat, I will put in the show notes as well. So those will be collected for the replay and the other places that this video ends up. So they will all be there. So, um, so background, how I got here. On my to-do list for an embarrassing long time has been to make a wiki for one of my epic fantasy series, and I actually attempted it using some fairly standard wiki software, which I hated. And so I didn't get it done because I hated using it. So stumbling upon World Anvil, which was much more user friendly and much more featured, was actually really cool. But then I'm looking at this and I'm seeing all these, again, all the journeyman and sage tiers and everything, and I'm like, okay, obviously this is useful for far more than just a wiki. And then I'm starting to explore what other people are doing with it. So can you tell me what are the features that you're using beyond just as a story Bible for yourself or for your readers? Um, like Red Fox mentioned secrets, and you mentioned, Sable mentioned, teasers and previews. What other things are you able to do with this beyond just the I now know which character has red hair?
One of the some of the things I'll go through really quick, and then I'll give Sable a turn. But I do a lot of tutorials, so I use a lot of stat blocks, and they're in the role-playing features, but that's really the only role-playing feature I use. And what you can do is you can create information in one place and then pop it all over. And then if you need to update it, you update it in one place. You don't have to worry about going to like 15 different pages and updating that. So I use stat blocks a lot. So like I have a list of all my books and stories, and then I set it up to be, this is complicated, but I can show somebody how to do it.
And let me just clarify real fast. You're using stat blocks, but not for character stats, not, because you're not
No,
talking
no,
about
no.
hit points and things.
Actually, I will show you guys if I'll pop it into the thing, and then I'll actually open up my character. So if we can share that on the stream.
Yeah, if you throw that into, if you screen share in Discord, that in theory I can pull that up, because we don't need the audio out of Discord because we are hanging out in Zoom
I
right
did that.
now.
So hopefully that will work. And I can only have so many things going on at once. I can't see if it showed up. So
I don't. Oh, let me see. That is. Yes. Yes, I'm going to adjust it so it's more visible, but we have it. So give me a second to. You can speak, and I'll make it pretty.
Okay. So what I did, because I'm a geek, I'm a former programmer, I love to tinker with things. And so what I've done, a couple things with my characters, was I made clickable secrets. So like if I scoot down here, because I know this is the secret area, and I hold it, I have things that pop up so people can go and make the pages a little bit more interactive, and so they can click on the pages and find the secrets. So for Umeji, he wanted to be a kitsune as a kid. You can click on that and find that. I also set up a set of access groups so people can self-subscribe to. So if they want to learn more secrets from Umeji's point of view or Nakamura's point of view, or secrets from book for book 2, that they can click on these, and then these different colored boxes will show up with information for them that they wouldn't get otherwise. I also did one more quick thing, and that's I made a list of all the books I have or will have, and the little short stories that go along with them, kind of as side stories. And then I tell it which ones to show. And that's a little bit complicated, but I could show somebody how to do that. And I hope to do that in a tutorial at some point. But so like Umeji's in Rise, Guardian, and these 3 stories. And so they show up, and then people can go link to those. And I will have a way to link back to that too. So there's that block. I just pop into every character and every species, and then people can check out what books those are in.
So that's a big time saver. You're just referencing it one time, and you only have to update it once. That's cool. And can we scroll back, because you've got a relationship chart, I think, that just went by.
Oh yes, there are. These are the family trees, and I have not done half as much with family trees as a lot of other people, because part of the family tree aspect I'm keeping as a secret. I'm not letting everybody know all of the things that are in family trees, but also some of my characters just don't have as much history written into the books yet. Eventually that may come about, but not yet. But you can get very, very detailed with these family trees.
Oh my gosh, I opened up the family trees and the relationship charts options, and it was like looking at, the War of the Roses layouts. I mean, you can do so many crazy overpowered things there. So we'll do that in a bit, because that's overwhelming. Okay. So, Sable, what would you like to point out on that?
Well, related to what Shy was just talking about, right? There's also organization relationship charts where you can chart people's diplomatic relations or lack thereof in a easy to follow diagram, which is awesome when you're writing space opera, I'll tell you, because that can get complicated politically. They've got just the article templates themselves are really useful, because it's not just, okay, I'm going to put all this general information in a wiki, right? It's like, okay, here's a template for a battle, right? And it's got all the fields laid out for you. Who were the belligerents, which is what you call the 2 sides of a conflict, right? Who, what was the units involved, right? What was the date that it happened? And it's all just right there to suggest what you need to have. You don't have to use all of the information, but what is there is a good way to get you thinking about how you might present it. And of course, like you said, right, you can let people know different things, right? I have different levels of my Patreon that are integrated, and depending on what level you have subscribed at, you get more and more information, right? I'm also, along with my husband, creating role-playing game statistics, so that if you want to take these worlds and say, play them in Dungeons and Dragons, you can do that. We have information for that. He's the guy who's putting that together, right? And it's also designed to work as a role-playing game platform, so it's really easy to incorporate. I mean, how many times have you, I don't know, did you guys play role-playing games at all? Right? Dungeons and Dragons, that kind of stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many times have you been reading, I don't know, the Mercedes Lackey books, and you're like, geez, this would be really great in a role-playing game, right?
Yeah. No, I totally, and that's one of the things I've looked, as soon as I told somebody that I was going to get on World Anvil, and they were like, so are we getting the series as a role play setting? And I'm like,
nice.
Let me figure out how to wiki first, and then we'll talk, so.
One
But
thing
yeah,
at a time.
yeah. Oh, thanks, ShyRedFox, for sharing that. Everything's coming in the chat. Thanks. We'll keep that. Again, all this stuff is going to go into the show notes. So this is one of the things that I was, looking at all these options, and I know that you guys are talking about secrets and sneak peeks and all of these things. So how does that information management, I guess, work, where, I look at, okay, this is stuff that people from readers of book 1 might want to come, but I don't want them to see this stuff from book 3 yet, right? And, so how can that information parse out? And Sable, you said you've got tiers on your Patreon, which give people access, which is a great way to do that. But that's, I guess, Patreon. That's a fan access as opposed to a chronological access. Like, what are my options for doing secrets and parsing out information?
Well, I have something for that too, actually,
Okay.
right? If you go to my community hub, you'll see that there are self-assigned subscriber groups that you can just choose, right? And I've got, I've read book 1, I've read book 2, I've read book 3. If you really want to go and select those all yourself and get all that information without having read the books, that's your problem, right? Some people like opening the Christmas present before Christmas. I don't care, right? Go for it. But if you don't want spoilers, this will prevent you from having spoilers. Now, granted, there's still some stuff that's only available to patrons, but that's how I lay out the chronological.
No, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
This is why I wanted to talk to people. I didn't even know these were options. This is great.
Yeah, these are under your world settings. There's access, and that's where you'll want to set up different access groups. So you can set it up for like team secrets or book secrets or Patreon groups or whatever you want.
Awesome. So I know, especially like ShyRedFox, I know I've watched you stream where you're working on your CSS and doing customizations and just what I know the entire thing is extremely customizable. So for people who are super CSS geeks, just go to town, have a great time. If I am, don't come. I can do CSS. It's not what I do for fun. Like, I think so. What might be other people's options if you want to play with that a bit? And you can please feel free if you want to throw anything up on the screen. I'll bring that back so we can see stuff.
I was just trying to think. I've been doing some series to help people be brave enough to try CSS, and people are always like, oh my gosh, I don't want to blow it up. I'm like, you're not going to blow it up. All you do is you go into the editor and take it out, and it goes back to the way it was. So you never can really blow it up. So just so you know. But there's the help channels in the Discord. Please, if you get on World Anvil, get on the Discord and sync up your account to the Discord so that you can get access to like the help channels and everything. So, because that's where I started learning. I had done CSS when it first came out. Oh, God knows how long ago. And then I had to like totally relearn it because everything has changed. When I learned first,
it's not fair.
It was like flashing text. And now, today, it's much more suave.
Sophisticated.
Yes.
Sorry, excuse me.
Less scrolling, rainbow flashing, and
Yeah. But there's a plenty of different like containers you can use. You can use quote boxes and stuff, and just little code snippet, the World Anvil BB code tags. So there's plenty to play with, even if you don't want to play with CSS. And there's different themes if you purchase at least the Journeyman, which is like less than $5 a month subscription. You can do different themes and play with some of the CSS. So there's a lot to tinker with and play with, even if you're not a CSS geek.
See, I'm not a CSS geek at all, right? So what I do is I use one of the basic themes. You select them. There's a variety that you can choose from, and one of them will be at least vaguely suited to what you want to do, right? Then from there, you ask in the CSS help channel, hey, how do I do this effect? Right? And people are very helpful. I've got this beautiful menu button that's on the side of every page.
Oh,
Everybody loves it. I just copied the code somebody gave me to do it and changed the picture. I don't have any idea how it works, but I get compliments on it all the time. And then from there, right, I don't hardly use containers at all. Like you can use containers and configure them with CSS, and I hardly ever use them. But I customized there's two boxes that they give you automatically. There's the quote box and there's the allowed box, right? The allowed box is intended for role-playing games where here's the section you read aloud to your players. But you can use it like a container, and that's what I do with it. I did a little CSS to customize how it looked so that it was blue to contrast with the red one that is my quote box, and I just use those pretty much, and it looks beautiful.
I had your I tried to bring your thing up briefly, and I think I lost it from Discord. So yeah, there we go. So if you
actually, I have Sable's thing up in the Discord.
Yeah, that's what I've got now. So we can
okay.
Oh, there we go.
Yep, there it is. There's the cover picture.
Yes, and yeah, because
this is her menu.
I'm using a standard theme right now too, but because you can adapt the cover picture and whatnot, you can still customize even while you're using somebody else's theme.
Yes.
Because I didn't think that getting set. I manage all my own websites. I do all of that. You can so easily disappear down the rabbit hole of I'm going to spend the next 8 hours moving this 5 pixels to the right and not actually update the content. So I'm trying to keep myself from doing that with World Anvil. So yeah.
Yes.
So okay. Awesome. And so what? You know what? I'm going to just let me see if I can get this up here. Because I want to show how if I can get mine up here. Can we do this? Is that up? No, it's not.
I'll poke this over here.
So maybe not. Nope, it's not going to let me do it. Okay, never mind. Just trust me that you can get a variety of looks from the same theme, and we'll just assume that.
You want me to pull yours up, Laura?
Yeah,
I can do that.
Yeah,
okay.
Just Discord's having a small crisis, and we'll.
And my poor computer's a little warm, so it's slow. Sorry.
Okay, I've got another friend, Graham Barber, who is using the same theme that I use for that world, the Toy Soldier Saga, for a military post-apocalyptic thing that he is doing, and it looks totally different. Right?
Yeah, because there's quite a lot you can do even without going into a lot of the CSS customization, and I'm only just figured this is my shiny new cover picture because I was using a placeholder until I decided to commit. So I'm gonna get there. It's gonna be fine, but working toward it. So yeah, and
look at those gorgeous book covers.
That looks really nice.
Beautiful book covers.
Yay!
And you've got a great
start here. Now
Laura.
that I know I can grab the stat blocks to make like book collections, that's on my list.
I gotta tap you for your cover designer. That's a really great cover.
Oh, I will happily share my cover designer. I mean,
awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love those covers. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of giggle when they show up in the email. Like, these are great. So
those are spectacular.
Yeah. So All right. So one thing that I think you guys have both mentioned that kind of blew my mind, but also makes perfect sense, is that you are using, we always talk about authors need a platform, and you are using World Anvil as your primary platform rather than, a central website or trying to stay on a different social media or something. So, can you just like, how did you choose that route? Was it a conscious decision, or you just kind of happened and now you're staying there? And how do you do that? How do you leverage this as a author platform?
I'm not published yet, but I have set up and run umpteen WordPress sites, and I have fun setting it up, but I hate writing posts and setting and maintaining it. And I just had some bad experiences with WordPress. And so when I was able to figure out that I could set up like an author page, and I will hop over to my author page. I set up a world for my author page, and then I can link to everything from that. So my author page, amywintersfoss.com, comes to here, and I need to fix the URL thing. There was a long story, a mess. I was one of the guinea pigs for the URL thing. But so I have everything linking from here. If people come here, they can find out about my books, and when they're coming out, they can sign up for my newsletter. They can sign up. So it's basically kind of my author platform funnel. Check out the books, check out the newsletter, check out the Discord, all the places that they want to find me. That used to be my WordPress site. So it's replaced my WordPress for me.
But I'm still using your custom domain to get there, or will be.
Yeah, I can get there from here. It just shows World Anvil right now. Okay. So once I get there, so
get that sorted. Yeah, and then Sable.
Yeah, I still have a WordPress site, and you can find my stuff under dianemorrisonfiction.com. But I kind of am using that as my the word. I'm sorry, I have a bit of a headache, and sometimes words slip my brain. But it's where you distribute it everywhere else. Like, that's what I'm doing with it, right? But I've got a. And again, I'm trying to remember the name. That there's a couple of different functions out there that'll let you take an RSS feed from something else and make a WordPress or a social media post out of it or whatever automatically.
Yeah.
And then send it, right? So that's what I've got going on, right? It automatically pulls from the RSS for my worlds on World Anvil, and it circulates it to my WordPress blog, which then sends it out everywhere else. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Tumblr, right? I'm everywhere, right? I don't do Facebook anymore, but but it was sending it to Facebook, right, as well. And my Amazon page, because it'll send it there,
right,
from the RSS from my WordPress blog, and my Goodreads page and all that stuff, right? And on top of that, though, World Anvil has its own social media functions that should not be neglected, right? Like get on the Discord again, right? There's so few. We have 1 million users, right? And 10,000 of them are on the Discord or something. That's it.
Yeah, it's very underused.
Like, what are you doing? If you get on the Discord, talk to people, tell them about your world. People will start checking it out from there, because these are people who are interested in what you are doing because they do it too. So they're going to want to check out your work, right? And then, from there, there's also the social functions on World Anvil itself. Like you have your own place where you can make a little feed post if you want to, right? Which I've underused, but intend to use more in 2021.
But I think that's something that ShyRedFox, I see all the time in my notifications, right? That you're constantly, updating, like, hey, this article went up, this got added, or it's great. I get on and I immediately remember how little I'm accomplishing, so it's good.
But yeah, that's the other thing, right? You can follow other people's worlds. You can follow their author page so that you can keep track of everything that they're doing, and then you get it directly into your notifications, right? And I also have there's an automatic function where if you set up your Discord link with your stuff on World Anvil in your, I think it's your user settings. Amy will correct me if I'm wrong, but
Okay.
you set it up and then it'll just post to your Discord as well, right? So if you have a Discord server that you're using, and hey, if you have a Patreon, you probably do because they designed that to integrate, then they'll just send it there too. Right. So it's like I make the post, I release it to Discord, because there's a button there to do that once you've made your post, and I release it to notify followers. The notify followers puts it in the RSS. Boom, it's everywhere. One post. I didn't have to copy and paste links anywhere.
I'm a huge
Awesome.
fan of do it once and then share it, distribute it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
Yes.
love those.
It's so
Anything that
important to
makes my
save
life
that
easier.
time.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what was that?
I was just saying it's so important to save that time because as authors, we have to do so much now. It's not like, especially as self-published authors, because I know Sable's self-published, I'm going to be self-published, you're self-published.
Yeah.
There's so much that we have to do now.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Siobhan and Mikey, for following. And then Siobhan has a question about how we're doing the distribution, the wide distribution across multiple social media. So
Okay, I gotta just a second. I will look up what the thing is that I'm using. Hold on, because I have forgotten the name of it, but
sorry, I switched to these headphones in the great audio debacle, and they're normally pretty comfortable, but I've actually got them pinching my hair, and I don't want to move anything to undo it, so I'm just going to wriggle a little bit. Hold on. Sorry, Amy, were you about to say something useful? Or?
Oh, I was just trying to remember where everything was, but I didn't want to look it up on screen.
Oh, I can pop that right off. Okay, look, now you can do whatever you like, and
okay.
we won't peek over your shoulder.
Zapier is what I am using.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Zapier.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love that. I love Zapier. Then and that I use Zapier for redistributing a lot of my material that I don't want to. I'm on Tumblr very technically, but I'm not super active on Tumblr. But I want my stuff to show up on Tumblr, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So yeah, and they have free and paid tiers of service. So those are great. Yes, thank you for throwing that into the chat.
I'm just using the free tier. It does everything I need it to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, I'm big fans of automation. Just please do this for me so I can focus on fun stuff.
Oops, sorry. That's my brother. I have to decline his call. I can call him back later. Sorry about that.
This is, by the way, this whole authors have to do so much thing. It's true even in traditional publishing nowadays, unless you're Stephen King, right? So, we need to find ways to save the time because we spend so much time doing social media and doing marketing that we're not writing. And that's crap. I don't want any of that. I want to write.
Right? Like that's why we did this. Nobody's like, I want to spend all my time trying to get 2 more followers, so I'm going to be a writer. Like that's not it's not what we signed up for. So
one of the other things. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Just going to answer in the chat real quick. Danny, the automations we're primarily using Zapier for that. So so Sable threw a link for that into the chat, and So anyway, I'm sorry. Carry on. Sorry.
I was thinking, since I have avoided doing the newsletter, one of the things that I can put into my newsletter is some of the things that I update in World Anvil, because I know I keep that updated, and so that's some of the things that I can add to my newsletter, and I am actually looking forward to that because I was always like newsletter.
Yeah,
I gave up on a newsletter. I don't do one anymore. It's such a waste of time. I just, I had a newsletter. I was getting a 1% open rate. I'm like, I get much more interaction this way. So screw it.
Yeah. I do have a newsletter. It is important to me, but the number one thing I get when I talk to other authors about newsletters is you sit down to write one and your mind just goes blank. Like, have I done anything this month? What happened this month? What year is it? Like that was just 2020 in general. But but having, okay, well, I published these 6 articles, so
we lost audio.
Yeah, we lost audio, Laura. We can't hear you. Well, while we're waiting, let's go poke around on Laura's page just to see what she's got.
Yes.
So, oh, it's not on the thing. I think I put her, let's go. I know. Okay, Laura went squeaky. Okay, it says, and I'm not on the screen anymore.
How about
But we
now?
can
Am
poke
I
around.
back?
There
We
we
can
go.
hear you
We
again.
gotcha.
Yay!
Yay.
I swear, if it's possible to break tonight, it's going to. I was not planning on using these headphones, so I didn't have the battery fully charged, and then it was
Oh
like, oh,
no, I'm
bye.
so
Oh
sorry.
no.
So, but that's because everything else was having a crisis when we started. So, okay. Um, let me get this. All right. Can you still hear me? Are we good?
We're
Yes, we
good.
can hear
Awesome. Sweet.
you.
Okay, good.
I was just poking around on your world while we waited for you to come back. I
Okay.
love your
I
map.
was gonna say, so what did I miss? What happened?
Oh,
So,
we were poking around. I'm peeking
Yes.
at your map. It's gorgeous.
oh, I like that.
So
Maps had a good time.
as reading the first of your Shard of Alarm books, I always wanted to know where stuff was, and this is great.
Yay! So thank you, Siobhan,
Oh.
for granting me some technical grace. I appreciate that. And yeah, the we're just gonna. This is gonna be the exciting everything audio goes wrong night. So that's how we're doing this.
Apparently.
Yeah. So let me see if I can get. Oh, I'm gonna get. Ta-da! Yeah. So actually, let me ask you about maps because I've discovered there are so many cool map options in World Anvil that are interactive and way cooler than my static map, which is what I had. So, I was just like looking at this going, I have so many new toys to play with, and it's actually inspiring because I'm like, oh, I should go ahead and write this down so that people can see where this happens, kind of thing. So, Sable, I saw you react. Do you want to enthuse about map options?
Okay, the map options are amazing, right? I'm not a cartographer. So I use a lot of randomly generated type maps, most of the utilities of which I learned from other people in the World Anvil community. And then I use the interactive tools, right? So you can make interactive map pins. You click on the map pin, it tells you stuff about
Right.
the thing there. You can make invisible pins and lines so that you just kind of mouse over and then it tells you what's going on there, right? You can make maps connect to other maps. You can make, say you have a map of space like I do, right? It's a space opera, Toy Soldier Saga, so I have a map of known space. Then I don't have them all set up yet, but the plan is you click on that star system and it'll give you a map of the system, right? Then you can click on any one of those planets in that star system and it'll give you a map of the planet and so on, right? And you can do that over and over again so that it's completely interactive. It's amazing what you can do with it.
Yeah, and that was one where I just looked at that and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much more than I ever would have hoped to build for myself, and it's already done and it's built for me. So, so
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, we can't follow a world? I'm sorry. Is that my world or somebody else's world?
Yeah, I think it's your world because if I
Uh-oh.
go to your home page, there's no follow options.
Huh.
Um,
Ooh.
I probably just broke that somehow because I touched it. So I'll look at that when
oh,
we're done here. So,
I'll help you
okay.
figure it out. We'll
All
get it.
right. Yeah. So it's in very baby stage now. Anyway, you're not missing so much, but it'll get better. I promise. Okay, right. So all right, and yes, and books. There are books. So many books. All right. So yeah, thanks for explaining some of that map stuff because I don't. I just know that there's more than I know how to use. So but I love what you said about being able to go from galaxies to individual planets to individual places on a planet and just click straight through all of that. That's some Google Maps level
And
manipulation right
down
there.
to
That's nice.
individual buildings and rooms if you want.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and because one thing that impressed me about World Anvil, again, I'm so new to it. Every time I discover something, I'm like, we. But I keep seeing, there's so many platforms out there for running role-playing games, or there's
Mm-hmm.
platforms out there that is specifically for a timeline for a novelist or something. And World Anvil has all of that rolled into one, because even though it's hugely used for gaming worlds and gaming communities, it actually started, as I just recently learned, as a
Mm-hmm.
noveling aid. So that's why it works so well for writers, is because it's not us trying to tack on to a game system, but it actually started as a thing. But then you've got all these game tools in there. And since I mentioned timelines, I just discovered timelines. They're
Timelines
complicated.
are
They're
great.
kicking my butt, but they're really cool. So, and I have one now.
Laura, just so you know,
Oh yeah.
timelines um, are getting better soon. That's
Okay.
one of the
Okay.
things coming up.
I'm not even
So,
blaming World Anvil for it. I'm totally, I'm owning all the technical errors right now. They're all mine, every one of them. So, but I am excited to hear that, because you can do it already. You can put you can have your multiple eras in your story. Like there's the actual, I don't want to say physical time, but there's the grand chronology of your world. From the Earth's crust began to cool all the way down to modern day. But then you can have different eras and different timelines within the era, because this culture is counting time this way and this culture is counting time this way. And I just looked at it and went ha ha ha. So, are you guys?
Mhm.
Do you want to talk about what you guys are doing with timelines, or?
I have not done that much with timelines. Have you done much with timelines, Sable?
I'm in the process of using it to keep track of the timeline of my novels. It's really important to me because I have dyscalculia. I'm terrible at remembering dates and how much time has passed. And, this is why I'm late for everything. But yeah, I'm finding it very useful for keeping a chronology of my books. Right, that events those are Patreon secrets. Right, you don't get to see the timeline of the novel unless you're, but some of the events have wider spread implications in the world, and those appear on a different timeline, right? That is keeping track of those particular events that are important to the world history, right? And then that's for everybody, right? And then let's see, you can also you can create the one event, right, and then select different timelines to put it on, right? I'm also
Right.
keeping, timelines for individual books and then timelines for the whole thing, right? So and I'm chronically behind on the work on it because it is a bit time consuming the way it is set up, but it's going to get better soon. Like she says, there's an update coming to the way that the timelines work and the calendars work, and they're rolling it into one. And I'm loving it because the one complaint I had was the difficulty of keeping track of, because I do have cultures that keep track of things with different calendars, and I'm like, what year is it in the Avalonian calendar, and then what year is it in the Fomorian calendar, right? And but it'll just do that in the update. I won't have to think about it, right? It'll just do it.
Magic integration.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, and I just was really happy to see I could start putting things into order. Like these last couple of books, like I understand when everything's happening, but it's for whatever reason, like I'm having the slipperiest time hanging onto the timeline while I'm working on them. So just being able to slot
Mm-hmm.
things in, some stuff is public, some stuff is secret, so I'm not accidentally dropping spoilers, but I can see where stuff is going, and the built-in features of, okay, this event's on the timeline, and then all within that, as Sable mentioned earlier, the templates are so useful and so helpful, and they're already built in for you. So I can say, okay, this event, it took place, it's a military conflict, it took place at this location, these people were involved. All of that is linked prettily
Mm-hmm.
into that timeline event, so that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to massage code to make sure all the links work and to make sure that they look good. The aesthetic is baked in, which is
And
great for
did
lazy people like me. So,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm lazy too. I want to do things once. I don't want to screw around with it forever. I want it done once.
Right.
You
Yeah,
Yeah.
know?
And if somebody else does it, that's
exactly.
even better. So,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Absolutely. I have enough to do. Did you know that you can now also link it to specific parts of your manuscript if you've put your manuscript on World Anvil?
I did not,
Yes.
because I haven't done anything with manuscripts at
It's
all.
so
So,
Oh,
amazing.
you will
okay.
like it.
Oh,
Um, that's where the story links were. Let me hop back over
I was
here.
going to say, can we get a
Um,
demo?
Yeah, but let me show you a couple things. I need a character. Give me a character. Image again. And one of the things I've been doing, because when you link to a manuscript, you can get an image, but you don't get anything about that. So one of the things I've been doing, again, let's hop over to a manuscript. An initiation is on a manuscript. So we can open one up. When you hop into it, you can get your summary, and I do a lot of formatting in my stuff. So I give people a summary, a rating, and stuff like that, and then I list what characters are in there. So I pop article blocks in there, what organizations, anything that's informational, and then my tags, and maybe some of the research I had for it, and then you can go and open it up and read it.
She's doing some really cool stuff. I'm taking notes because I'm gonna do some of the stuff she's doing.
In the back of my head, I'm like, I'm gonna watch this video 4 more times. Like just me. I'm just gonna sit here and take some notes. So yeah.
I will be doing some author tool stuff on my Hacks and Help blog, just because the author side is not as developed, and so I've been like, okay, how do we get a block with manuscript summaries? But anyway, here's what the manuscripts look like, and then you can just keep continuing clicking to the next part. And then, oh, come on, pop back up here. What did I call it? Books.
Thanks, Siobhan. Enjoy your dinner. Hey, DM Stretch. Welcome.
What did I have? I had a list of stories. Was it stories? I can't remember what I called it. Off the Raya's Companion Stories. There we go. So what I did was I created a block that people can make a copy of. And this isn't all about me. I just want tools that people can use, because again, when you have a manuscript, you get a picture, which is great, but I want to know what it is before I go click on it. So I made it so you can make a summary and references and give it some tags. Uh-huh. So that will be available. And then I also did a similar thing for my characters.
And make sure at some point, like, not to interrupt you in mid-sentence, but drop a link to your tips and hacks blog, because I stumbled upon that when I first got into World Anvil, and I was like, this is really useful. I know this person. And so it was...
Yeah, this is what I did here. These are just article blocks, and I put their character pictures in there, so we can basically have a listing of all of our characters by books, just with article blocks. And then you can, in here, I'll show you how I did this. These two I listed separately because I wanted specifically, but then you can tell it you want like 4 columns across, and I'll show people how to do that. But these are just the article blocks, and the major characters, I just tell it tagged by or something like that. I have to edit it. And then I give it a tag, and it lists them all for me, so I don't have to go in and manually edit it all the time. I'm going to pull that up just a second here. How did I do that? Oh, tagged. And then I have a tag called Book 1 Major. And so it lists them all out for me. Okay. So it's automatically done.
And then, and people could make that as detailed or as simple as individuals wanted to do. So one thing I tell, because if you're new to the stream tonight, I run a weekly live stream on the business of creativity, and so we talk about marketing, we talk about careers and all kinds of things. But one of the things I try to mention frequently is don't let it bully you. Don't let the task bully you. You can start with what you want to start with and then build out. Like, don't look at, oh gosh, marketing, it's huge. Don't let it bully you.
Oh yeah, it's scary.
World Anvil has a lot of stuff, as I'm discovering. So I'm picking the spot I want to work with, and then I'll pick another spot I want to work with. So, but yeah, here's the blog that I found that has lots of useful information on it. So, yeah, thanks for sharing that link.
Part of why I started writing this is I had a hard time learning it, and I hung out in the channel, the help channel in Discord on the World Anvil Discord, and I just started making notes. And a lot of these are my notes, and then I tried to tidy them up so because other people started reading them. So it's this started because I needed notes, and then I've shared what I learn as I learn it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time to write them down for the rest of us. See, we really appreciate it. It's a huge time saver too. So, yeah. So, okay. Sorry, just catching up in the chat. Stretch fell asleep and needs a pizza. So, we'll
Hmm.
get you set. Hey, what
When
jerk
doesn't he
didn't
need a
silence her
pizza?
cell phone before she went on live stream? That would be some blonde sitting here. So okay, yeah, carry on. So no, ShyRedFox, that was not a jab at you. That was the fact that mine has gone off twice just while we were having the in one sentence. So we're yeah, that's on
I
me.
didn't hear him.
Okay, good,
So
good. Maybe it was far enough away from my mic, but it was it's muted now. So okay, all right. Yeah. So uh, Sable, when you talked about using this with Patreon, um, like how did you set up your monetization and feel free to tell me, that's not a question I'm willing to answer on a public stream. That's totally fair. But as far as, are you is that primarily to divide up your subscriber access like you talked about earlier? Does that actually a source of income for you? How did you set up that, monetization? I'm going to leave that wide open. You can take that wherever you would like to.
Right. Well, it's a tidy side income at the moment. I won't call it like, it's not a big income maker, right? But it is growing all the time. It's not a pathetic drop in the bucket either. So this is, and okay, so I set up my Patreon like ages ago, and it was very slow moving, and I didn't get a lot of response, and I kept trying different things, and right. But then I when I've only been involved for World Anvil for just over a year, right? It was my present to myself for finishing Nano in a personal record time, not this year but last year, right? And they had a sale, so I went for the I think, yeah, the master membership instead of the journeyman, because it was about the same price as I would have paid for the journeyman,
Nice.
right? And it came with some integrated features that said you can have subscriber groups and integrate it with your Patreon, and it showed you how to do that. And I started doing that, and my patrons responded to it like nothing else I've ever done. They love it, right?
Oh,
they
nice.
they're delighted to support it, right? So I've been upgrading my membership ever since, right? At Sage level, it which is the professional guild membership, right? It directly interfaces with Patreon so that you have to do practically nothing to make it work. Just do your initial setup, and then it automatically subscribes, gives people a subscribe link, and they go there, and then they get the material that's specifically for that level of whatever Patreon level they have. And I mean, like, and it's just kind of been snowballing from there with very little effort on my part, really.
Oh, wow.
I'm just doing the stuff that I would be doing anyway. And, with a couple of little special features for the more, the higher level tiers. And that's it. Right. And it's great. I've never been so happy with it.
That's awesome.
I'd like to point out that about 90% of what I do on World Anvil is completely available free to the public, right? Most of my basic world building stuff is just all there for you to look at, right? My series Bible and fan wiki, except I'm making it, you know, but there's, about 10% of the material that's for patrons alone, right? But the rest of it, I have to do it anyway because I have to make a series Bible.
Hmm.
So I just make what is convenient to make available to the public, and that gets people interested and it draws them in. This is what I mean about it being my primary platform,
Yeah,
right? And
that's fantastic. And
yeah,
it's great that that it just was such a natural process for you because I don't know, I'm a self-published author. I mean, I publish both traditionally and self-published, but my novels, my
Hmm.
long form stuff is self-published. I'm from the Midwest, and like going out and be like, "Hi, please love me and give me money" is like the worst, you know.
Oh
So,
yeah.
Right.
so hearing that the people who are already with you who just kind of rolled naturally into supporting that in another way, that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. So yeah. Okay. So yay. All right.
I feel yeah, I'm a hybrid author too, and I hate marketing myself. I'm Canadian. Blowing your own horn is culturally frowned upon. I have to kick myself
Yeah.
hard in the butt to make
Right.
myself go out and do it.
Yeah.
So I love stuff that makes it simple and I don't really have to blow my own horn. It's great.
Yeah. And like I'm gonna my other brain is gonna jump in for a moment and be like, marketing shouldn't be hi, love me and send me money, but it will feel like that even if you're
Yeah.
doing marketing properly. It's
Yes.
still gonna feel like that, particularly if you're from the Midwest or Canada. Um, Sorry, that's just it's baked in. We're gonna. I was at a
Mhm.
writers conference years back, and we had. I think it was Jane Friedman who said, guys, this was a Midwest conference, and she's like, guys, you have to get over this Midwest. You have to talk. Like, so, we're sorry, we just can't help it. Yeah. So
It's baked in, really,
it
seriously. It
really,
is
and
just
then
part of who we
that's why
are.
we sit down and we look at the newsletter and we're like, who wants to know anything I've done in the last month? Like, so
Yeah, why would
also it's
anybody
2020
care?
and I haven't done anything in the last month. So yeah. Hey, thanks Stretch for stopping by. We'll appreciate it. Catch you later.
Yeah.
So
See you, Stretch.
awesome. So okay. Um, Oh man, I was trying to think. I made some notes about questions I wanted to ask, but we've been hitting them completely out of order. So let me check my notes real quick. Excuse me. Um, and yeah, and I guess also anything that you guys, I don't, I may not even know enough to know what to ask, right? So if anything, you guys are like, Laura, have you seen? This would be the time to throw that out because I might not have.
I do have a bit of advice for newbies to World Anvil.
Yes,
There
please.
are the wonderful, incredible, seriously detailed article forums. So, like, if you have a character, I mean, you could list pretty much everything about this character, and they put so much time into these. But if you fill out every single aspect, you're going to have an article that's so ridiculously long that nobody can read it all. So fill out only what's important to you. Don't feel like you have to
Yeah.
fill it all out.
Yeah,
So
and don't spend time filling that out that you could be spending writing about what that character does. Like, we
Yep.
still need, we still want books at the end of this. Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
much
your
so.
your protagonist's article might look like that. Don't do it for, the guy he met who keeps the shop down the street.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, especially for some of us speculative writers, as we are here, um, it's real easy to get distracted in the research or the plausible or world building or whatever. So,
Yeah.
guys, this is a tool. It's not the goal itself. It is a tool. So, yeah, but sometimes we want to go play, and that's fine too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and actually, what you were talking about with the templates, those are also great tools to help you develop things. And when we just did World Anvil in December, and they had the daily prompts for World Anvil, and I ended up writing about stuff in my world that I had vague ideas of, but I hadn't developed to that degree. But I developed it to that degree because there was a prompt, and then I wanted to get credit for completing the prompt. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
so totally, yeah, you use the tool, okay? Absolutely, you use it for what it's good for, and then where it stops being useful for you, don't let it bully you. So,
The contests are the same way. Get involved in the contest, get involved in the community that way. But if there's something that really doesn't work with your world, don't shoehorn it in. So,
Yeah. I made a promise to myself this World Ember. I was not going to get distracted by prompts. If the prompt worked and I needed to write that, I was going to write it. If I didn't, I wasn't going to. So, and that worked out very well for me.
yeah,
So,
and sometimes we just have to set ourselves some parameters because things can get very shiny. Like, you're like, oh, I want some of that sparkle. But yeah, ultimately, guys, it's about making books. So yeah, don't get distracted. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that. But there are so many cool templates that, again, I would never have thought about some of this stuff. So it's out there.
Yeah.
So find what's useful to you, use that, let the rest go. So, okay. So actually, I'm going to just remind the chat, if you guys have specific questions, please mention them. I'm not actually sure how long we've been running because our front end was so chaotic, but
Just under an hour.
I was going to say, I feel like it's been about an hour, so that's thank you.
Yeah, I think
Because
we're
I
about
had
there.
enough panic going on that checking the time was not what I was doing. Um, but thank you, first of all, both of you guys for being patient with my technical meltdown over here,
No
and
worries.
everybody in the chat and watching. Thank you guys for being patient with me as well. And we did not have to revert to interpretive dance for the stream. We did get audio, so that worked out nicely. Thanks for being patient. But are there any questions that we can take advantage of our pool of knowledge here that you guys want to throw into the chat? And I know we've had some people coming in who I have seen on Twitch streams and chats, so we may have a very knowledgeable chat. And
Oh
might be
yeah, I
that
We
recognize a lot
do
of the
everybody is here
names.
to give me information because I'm
recognize
just going to quietly
lots of
absorb
lights
everybody's.
for sure.
So, okay. Tandy says, we do. We want to make books. Like, article rabbit hole. Yeah.
True
Yeah.
story, Daddy.
That would be totally. Yep. Okay. So, and yeah, so what I am going to do is probably wrap this here. I am so grateful for you guys coming and sharing information. I'm not even kidding about I'm going to go back and take notes over what you guys were saying tonight because this is great info. And world building diseases will take over the world.
Yes.
So, yeah.
If you or if anyone else in the chat or who's watching this on the VOD later or whatever has any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with either one of us. I'm sure
Oh
we'd
yeah,
be happy to help.
definitely.
We're on the World Anvil Discord all the time. We're in, I'm on Twitch, she's on Twitch,
They're really nice. They talk to me. I'm still here. It's great. So, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So, again, I am just really appreciative that you guys agreed to help me just to put this in perspective for you guys watching. Poor ShyRedFox was just like, hey, this is great, let me know if you need any help, and I'm like, yeah, can we do it live on stream? So she was
Is that how this
so
got
nice
started?
to agree to that. So mad props to both of these guys. Please check out all of their stuff. Make sure they've been putting links in the chat, but make sure that you check them out. And then I'm gonna wrap this. Thank you guys. Have an awesome night, everybody involved. And yeah, I'll
Thank you
see
so
some
much,
of you.
Laura, for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
It's been a
thank you,
lot of fun.
Laura. I have always loved reading your books, and it's just awesome to be here with you today.
Yay.
So thank
Your
you.
check is in the mail. Okay. So, all right. All right. Bye, everybody.
Good night.